eat Kit Kats and Hershey bars.
You and your Kit Kats.
Blame my mom. I've been trying to drop chocolate for a long time because I know it's what's adding to my weight. Every time I go over, she's got Every time I go over, she's got like 2 fun-sized bags of chocolate. She's like, "Here, I don't need these."
It's because it's Halloween season, and she's a nice old lady who's kind of senile.
She does this all year. All year, she'll do this. It's like, I don't care about my weight anymore. Nobody else does.
Yeah, well, and the only reason why I don't care about my appearance today is because I'm wearing a classic shirt of mine that's ancient as hell. And wow, okay, even that's kind of weird. Oh, I know why that's out of sync. Never mind, I fucked up. All right, I'll tool with it later. That's an issue on my end. Anyways, so we are going, by the way.
Hello,
puppets. How are you?
You know what? When my nieces came over, whenever the fuck that was, that was last week. I went over to have supper with them, and we started watching Curse of the Black Pearl. We didn't get very far.
What have I started?
I want my mom to see it. I know she doesn't like Johnny Depp, but she's a huge fan of Jeffrey Rush. And I think Barbossa is just one of the greatest cinematic characters I've seen. I really would like to get her. Even if she doesn't see anything else, I'd like to see her opinion of him as quite a charismatic villain.
Oh yeah.
I mean, to me, I like Johnny Depp. I like Captain Jack, but to me, the whole reason I watch those movies is Barbossa.
Oh yeah, like enough reason alone.
I love seeing what I see. I love seeing and that's one of the. I haven't seen the last one yet, but that's one of the reasons. I will eventually. I just want to see it just so I can say I've seen it. It's not. I don't know if it's going to be bad or good. It's just like, look, I've seen 4 out of the 5. I might as well see the 5th at some point.
I think they're up to 6.
Nope, 5.
Oh no, a 6th one is coming.
Is it because the 5th one was supposed to be the finale, I thought?
Nope, there's a new one coming.
Oh, of course. But the one, I liked the 4th one, and one of the main things I liked, I can't remember is when Barbossa just out of nowhere and his English troops just step out of the fog and start wrecking shit up. It's like you at that point in the story, you've almost forgotten about him. And then all of a sudden he just shows up. It's like,
and suddenly pirates. Yeah.
Yes, and suddenly Barbossa, it's like, oh hell yes, that just made the show so much better.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
He's good. Jeffrey Rush is really good.
Like, the only reason why I will watch a pirate movie anymore, especially like a Pirates of the Caribbean movie, is for Barbossa and for side characters. I don't, and this is something I've gone over before, and I know we've talked about this on previous episodes way in the past.
Probably.
I do not like Johnny Depp. I honestly do not like Johnny Depp.
I can take him or leave him. I think that one of my favorite Johnny Depp movies, my mom does have one. She likes Sleepy Hollow. Sleepy Hollow's got a good story to it.
But that's also got Christopher Walken in it, so.
That's got Christopher Walken and Christopher Lee, and yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite of his is The Seventh Door.
That one's not too bad either.
Him and Frank Langella. That's just such a twisted movie.
But
I just like how the story is.
See, those are examples of movies I watch, not for Johnny Depp, but I watch in spite of Johnny Depp.
Yeah, I mean, Johnny Depp in The Seventh Door was
easily replaceable.
Wasn't so much the protagonist as he was a plot device.
He was a red shirt that hadn't died yet.
Well, no, he was somebody that needed to be in a place for the plot to move forward, but he never did anything with the plot until literally the last scene. he really didn't have anything to affect the plot until the last scene. He was just there to show you who the next person was that was going to get killed.
Yeah.
That's it. Although one movie I do want to see with him, because I think he gets killed in it, is Murder on the Orient Express.
And okay, I will get on that in a minute.
I want
you opened up the door. You opened up the door.
I want to take my mom to it because it's probably the only time her and I can go to an American movie theater and see Derek Jacobi.
Yeah,
Derek Jacobi is in the movie, and I want to see it for that. Plus, hey, if Johnny Depp gets killed, boo-wah, I don't think I've ever seen that happen before. Be kind of neat to see how that works.
But going back as an actor and even as like a person, from what we've gotten snippets of his personal life, you know, with your media and shit like that, I do not like Johnny Depp as an actor or as a person, because honestly, for the last pretty much 2 decades, he's been playing the exact same fucking character, just in a different costume. And I don't care who or what anyone says, and this is something I've brought back multiple times. The accent he uses for who is it? Not Willy Wonka, but for the Mad Hatter, and is the exact same accent he pretty much uses for Pirates of the Caribbean. At this point, he is just Jack Sparrow in everything he does, and that's not actually a good thing. It means his acting talent is so fucking limited and curtailed by working with Tim Burton over the years that his ability and depth is garbage. What was it? The last movie I saw him in recently was Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Him. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen that movie.
I haven't. I forgot he was in that.
Yeah, he ends up playing the exact same character that Colin Farrell played, but Colin Farrell played it better, which is weird to say. And they both play Gellert Grindelwald. I had to make sure I was pronouncing that right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they both play Grindelwald. Johnny Depp plays the young Grindelwald at the end of the movie, who is actually in disguise as Colin Farrell, playing another character. It's so fucking convoluted and stupid, oh my god. But, I'm sorry, before that, he was in Pirates of the Caribbean. Before that, he was in Pirates of the Caribbean. Before that, his acting talent is garbage and has gone downhill since working with Tim Burton and whoever the hell is doing the Pirates of the Caribbean movies anymore. When you flash back to one of the very first roles he had, the very first 2 roles I love to bring up is he was in, 21 Jump Street, and he got killed in Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
Those are his 2 first major roles. Now, then you skip to him in Crybaby, which I fucking hate that movie on general principle, but he actually had some acting talent there. And then he got involved with Tim Burton. And since then, he's been playing the exact same fucking character over and over and over and over again. And he has not grown as an actor. He has not grown. And the fact that part of the divorce proceedings between him and Amber Heard, Amber Heard, I had to think about that for a second, did involve her stating in court documents, in official documents, that he was abusive to her physically and mentally. And that is what led to the divorce. So as a person, because Amber Heard, she may not be the best actress in the world, but she actually gives it her all. She's just not the best actor in the world, or actress, I should say. But the fact that is a main point of the divorce, I'm sorry, Johnny Depp fans, go fuck yourselves. He's not that good, and he's not that great. Much like Tim Burton anymore.
2 things. Number 1, was he in Finding Neverland?
Yes.
That, I don't remember much about it, but I do know that I was in tears at the end of that movie.
Yeah. Now, I will say
this. Again, that may just be the fact that it was a great script. I do want to see
for that one.
Again.
For that one, that was a weird, and this one I will even tip my hat to, with Finding Neverland. That was one of the few times where Johnny Depp completely broke away from every character he's established at and been playing for the last 20 years. It was something completely new, completely different, not involved with Tim Burton, not involved with Pirates of the Caribbean, wasn't dark and gothic, it was completely new.
It was very well done.
And the script was very good. And because of that, he actually did break the mold. I will tip my hat to that one, because it wasn't Johnny Depp playing Johnny Depp at that point. It was Johnny Depp actually having to summon up some of his acting talent and go, wow, I actually have to do something for this show. Holy crap.
Number 2.
Kind of like something that happens with us once in a while.
Number 2, there is one actor who plays himself that you and I practically worship. Christopher Walken. No matter what movie he is in, Christopher Walken is playing Christopher Walken in. The characters are all exactly the same, but that's what you look for in that. He just does it so well. You can transplant Christopher Walken into literally any universe you pick, and put him in, and he will just fit somehow.
And one of the major
I don't know how he does it.
And one of the major exceptions to that in the last 20 years is again Sleepy Hollow, where
I don't count that because he wasn't really. The reason why is because he didn't have any lines.
No, he had one. He had one line, and I can't remember.
Yeah.
What he actually said something besides "shh." I can't remember what it is though, but he had one line in the whole movie, and that's okay because it wasn't Chris. It was Christopher Walken not having to play Christopher Walken, which is actually great.
Actually, it added a lot to it.
Yeah. It was very interesting. It was like, that's Christopher Walken. What the? Oh, yeah. I remember when that movie came out.
Yeah, I've seen Christopher Walken in comedies. I've seen Christopher Walken in horror. I've seen Christopher Walken in what might as well be attended to Skinamax film. And every single time it's called Wild Side.
Oh, God, yeah.
I love where he plays Mr. 15%.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I love that show. I think it is so... He almost has a male scene, and the way that is built up is just so hilarious. Because, again, it is total Christopher Walken just being himself.
Pretty much, yeah. And as a side note...
And one Thriller with The Rock, where he plays the drug lord.
I think I missed that one.
There's a comedy.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, and
There's a comedy with The Rock and another guy where they end up, and the best scene in that movie, which I know you'll laugh at me with because you'll remember it, is the stampede. Because it's preceded by this, I don't know how the fuck this character ended up there. It's like this Scottish guy standing in front of this drug lord's encampment, bitching him out, playing the bagpipes as he goes on, and then on cue, this whole fucking herd of cattle just runs right through. And Christopher Walken's character is actually smirking during it. It's like, well, he's gotta be dead in a minute, but God, you gotta admire the balls on that guy.
Yeah.
He is probably the one character actor that never has to play a character.
Because he's
just got such a presence about him. He doesn't need anything else.
Christopher Walken is one of those people that is as close to a living cartoon that you can get while being three-dimensional. He really is, and I don't mean that actually in an offensive way. Not like Donald Trump cartoon. No, I mean like
that's like a caricature.
Yeah, true. Caricature of a banana pretending to be orange, pretending to be.
Neither one of us is drunk, and we still can't say the word.
But yeah, no. Christopher Walken is one of those actors that drugs probably did him really good because we wouldn't love him the way he is without all the drugs he did. But he is as close to as a good living cartoon human that can exist, and they are very rare. They were very. Robin Williams was another great cartoon made into a man. I
both am sad and happy that we never got a movie with the two of them in it, because I don't know how that would work. They both are perfect examples of that, but there's on such a dichotomy. They're so far apart in that I think that would be a little too weird.
I know what would have happened is a documentary would have come out behind the scenes, and the first words of the documentary hang on. The first words of the documentary was, "We officially broke John Belushi's cocaine record in usage and in amount on set." That would have been the first words of that documentary.
There is a libations panel from a FurCon. I think it just got put up. Where
probably a Quentifer or something.
I don't remember what it is, but it's libations with a question mark because it never really gets to that point. It's just story hour, and it's such weird stories. And one of them, the first one that Alkali talks about, one of the lines is, he had a lot of cocaine, and apparently it was all for him. It is such that's paraphrasing. I can't quite, but what the story that starts off with is just like, I think you might still be able to go to jail for that one, so maybe you should make sure the cameras aren't on first.
For reference, should you ever want to find some of the videos we talk about, go to Silver Gatomon on YouTube.
Yes, it's Silver Gatomon's recent one.
And Vimeo. Now, I think Silver Gatomon has set up a Vimeo, because YouTube is pretty much a prick.
Yeah, but it is his most recent release on YouTube.
Yeah.
Also,
Anyways,
if you don't believe us that Christopher Walken, pretty much things of his carry through, watch. It was featured on the Huffington Post. It's Everybody Dance Now with Christopher Walken clips, and as you watch it, you see all of these mannerisms, like when he goes shh. Like that, you see it. I think it started in The Prophecy, but then you see all the clips from all these other Wild Side was the only one not featured, and I'm really pissed about that because that had some good mannerisms. But you see how many times one thing of his will stretch out into other movies, not even related to it.
Yeah.
And you see how much fun he has doing things.
Though, if Christopher Walken ever offers you a pocket watch, just say no.
And did you see the Glove and Boots? Thank you, 200,000 subscribers. Gorilla, in his wonderful language that nobody can understand, recreates that scene toward the end of the video, where he has a pocket watch, he swallows it, and then in a further joke, it was Mario's pocket watch. So he comes back and he's like, oh, well, yeah, I'm glad I could help you out, but why does my watch smell funny now? And all Fafa will say is, I ain't saying nothing. So they do reference both parts of that joke.
It's terrible.
I have seen and listened to that video probably 200 times, so I know it pretty well.
Yeah, obviously you do.
It's got a great soundtrack. I can't help it.
Yeah, and because it's that time of the year, and because I feel like it, because I'm a massive dick, and for anyone curious right now, you are seeing actually a nice little excerpt from the book Dreamcatcher. Where I wanted to pull up the page. I couldn't remember the exact page, and unfortunately Rendal can't see it right now. So I wanted to pull this up, and it's like, oh yes, there's that. Where my hometown, my lovely, lovely hometown.
You mentioned this. Okay, yes. I was wondering if you're going to talk about that.
Yes, where my happy, wonderful home. Okay, I can't even lie that fucking hard.
No,
I can't lie.
You're digging too fast, even for you.
But it was bugging me because I forgot what the page number was, because I kept thinking it was like 100 and something, or it was like 84. I know I've thrown out over the years I always thought it was like 108 or something, or 80, 80 something, or it's actually page 104. And the excerpt, just because I want to throw it out there, just because I love shitting on the town, because again they're engaging in stupidity, is the fact that Stephen King has even made fun of and shit on Wenatchee, Washington. And beginning excerpt is actually between. It's from one of his worst books. Dreamcatcher was a terrible book, and the movie wasn't any better. But the exact line, I love how it talks. I like it too. Remember those stories about devil worship in Washington State, the ones that made the press in the mid-90s? They were traced back to several old people living with their children, grandchildren in one case, in 2 small towns south of Seattle. Well, not exactly south. The mass reports of sexual abuse.
Near south.
The mass reports of sexual abuse in daycare centers apparently began with teenage girls working as part-time aides crying wolf at the same time in Delaware and California. Possibly coincidence, or possibly time was simply ripe for such stories to gather credence, and these girls caught a wave out of the air. And then it skipped down to the bottom page. And when are hysterical ideas most likely to gain credence? Once the crops are in, the bad weather closes down, and of course then there's time for telling stories and making mischief. In Wenatchee, Washington, it's devil worship and child sacrifices in the woods.
So, I mean, if you look at a map of Washington, which I love Stephen King, he's totally awesome. But apparently he never looked at a map because we're kind of slightly north and way the fuck east of Seattle.
Technically, Wenatchee is kind of south because
it has to be just barely.
You have to go northwest to Seattle, but that's a technical. You have to remember, Stephen King knows Maryland better than he knows any other state. But no, I just love.
That's true.
I just love pulling that up once in a while when the city starts thinking about something stupid and starts engaging in stupidity, and I like to remind them that in the 90s they had a national embarrassment, which me and Rendal had ties to in one way or another, and the fact that Stephen King even took the mickey out on them. And there is a segue. There is a segue here. There is a segue. The reason why I bring up, Wenatchee getting the mickey taken out of it for its sex ring scandal, is and I think I briefly talked with you about some of this, some of the weird shit coming out of California recently.
I don't remember it.
Like I said, I think I talked to you briefly about this.
Very apparently. What are you talking about?
And I will get there. And this is part of the reason why I will not live in California, while they very much have the Donald Trump governor in charge right now. Except unlike Donald Trump, who is conservative Republican doing shit that's against the common good of people, their governor is doing things that he believes is for the good of people, but is going to blow up in everyone's face.
Fun.
Yes. We've got an extreme regressive on one side and an extreme progressive on the other side. Enter Thunderdome and fight. In this particular case, and this is actually something that's been chapping at my ass, especially as we come up to Halloween. The governor of California passed 2 bills recently within the last month. These 2 bills are fundamentally insulting and terrible, because boiling it all down comes down to 2 things. One bill introduced that passed, that he just put through. He was able to get it put through, no problem. Would allow people who are registered and convicted sex offenders, especially of children, child molesters and child rapists, to after 10 years not have to be on the registry anymore.
I think I remember hearing about that.
Now, the exception to that is the most serious of offenders will stay on the registry. But
what do they consider most serious?
That is the problem, is there is no actual set definition right now for the most serious of offenders.
So is this, okay, are we going back to elementary school? Is this going to be a sliding scale?
Probably, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's going to work.
Now, I will sit here and say, I will honestly say, I do know someone who is a registered sex offender. Now, when I met them, I did not know they were a registered sex offender, and then when I found out, I got really pissed, because I don't tend to tolerate sex offenders in general. Then I found out how he got a sex offender charge. he was drunk, taking a piss in public, and a little lady and their kid. He's heard the story.
That is actually something I've joked about, because I know I've lived out in the boonies. I've actually lived out on a farm.
Yeah.
If you're out doing something and you can't run back to the house,
you go where you got to go.
You take care of nature where you can.
Well, and when you're inebriated, common sense is kind of out the window.
Yeah.
That said, if the bill was written to remove people like that, somebody was out taking a piss and, well, okay, shit happens. You get slapped around and moved on. I understand letting it drop off. Actually, I'd probably, let it drop off a lot sooner. But convicted but I draw a serious problem with the lack of definition for most serious of offenders. There is a serious lack of definition for that, and that really grinds my gears and drives me up the wall.
And I'm sure that's deliberate, because I don't think they ever, probably at this point, they don't have any intention of defining it. They just, that almost sounds like one of those bills. It's like, let's put it out there. We don't expect it to pass because it's vague, but if it does, good, we'll think on it later.
Yeah, exactly.
And now that's passed, now that's passed, they don't even have to think about it, if we're being perfectly honest.
Yeah. But that's one major thing that very recently got my go. And the other one, I gotta make sure I pull this up to have it, to make sure I have this right, because I want to fuck this up if I'm going to be shitting on California, because I'm never going to be welcome in California, I'm guessing. And I'm okay with that. Don't let me...
Hey, with the way things are going, it might be burned to the ground eventually anyway.
Oh my god, I know. All the fires and whatnot.
I'm only slightly joking. I've heard quite a few... Well, in fact, this last week, the home of Charles Schultz of Peanuts burned to the ground.
Yes, and his wife, his widow, got out. His widow did get out, and she is safe. But it really is. It's really sad to have heard that, because
the museum is still open. So I don't know, but with the way the fires are, I would be looking at that museum and like, okay, is there a fire around it? We're emptying this fucker, and we won't worry. We'll worry about putting stuff in when those fires are gone, because that's all they have left now.
Yeah. Now, okay, and I did find the other one. I wanted to make sure I was going to have... I was going to... And I know you have seen me go off about this on Facebook briefly.
Probably.
There's a lot of stigmatisms when it comes to blood donation. There's a lot of issues involving blood donation, especially if you're in the gay community. Gay guys, can't donate if they've been active in, the last year.
That's a really messed up thing. Yeah,
it's really fucked up. It's some 80s level bullshit that really should be fixed. Especially when you sit there and go, lesbians can donate blood without a problem, but gay guys can't. But that's ties into what I'm about to say. Is the same governor, shortly before he passed that pedophile release from registration act, as I'm going to jokingly call it, also passed a bill involving people who have HIV. Now,
yes, I don't remember it, but I remember I remember you saying something.
Some of my angry tangents about this, and the boiled down is, it comes down to this: if you have HIV, it is no longer a felony, and to some extent it is actually decriminalized if you are purposely infecting other people. And if you have HIV, you do not have to disclose you have HIV when donating blood.
Yeah.
And I'm not okay with that on any level. First, I don't blame you. The first part where if someone is, because they were having issues finding intent It was making, it was criminalizing HIV because of intent. If you were purposely infecting somebody with HIV, I'm sorry, you deserve a murder charge. If not, maybe not that extreme. At the very least, a manslaughter charge.
I was just going to say, yeah.
At the very
manslaughter would be easier to prove.
At the very least, a manslaughter charge if you were purposely infecting. Now, I will say this as a caveat. If you have HIV and you don't know you have HIV and you have infected somebody else on accident, it really fucking sucks for both parties involved. But there was no deliberate ill intent or purpose.
Right.
It was an accident, it happens, and everyone's life is ruined. It's pretty much like having a kid, but in this case, well, even like having a kid, it's a terminal issue. Hey!
It's just short term as opposed to a kid is long term.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's a good segue. I like that.
But...
Oh man, you know what?
We're talking about
some dark,
fucked up things, and we make.
If my sister didn't have kids, I would definitely tell her that joke. Although she might actually agree more now that she does have kids.
It's a little fucked up, sir. It's a little fucked up.
It's me.
True.
Come on.
But seriously, I don't know anyone. I don't know anyone who will actually argue in favor of, allowing people who are purposely infecting other people with a terminal, horrible fucking disease. Even if there is medications now, even if things have changed a lot since the 80s. Things have changed a lot since the 80s. It's been 30 fucking years.
Oh yeah.
There's medications and there's remissions, there's also, but it is ultimately a terminal disease. Whether or not it kills you or not, as the end result, you are infected with a terminal disease. It's fucking horrible, it's terrible. And anyone who deliberately infects somebody with something like that, it's like infecting someone with Ebola or throwing anthrax in their face or something like that. I'm sorry, you deserve at least a manslaughter charge if you were deliberately, purposely doing it. No bones about it. And the fact the governor signed a bill in 2 parts that decriminalized it, or nearly decriminalized it, it's no longer a felony. It's like a gross misdemeanor at worst. It's like, are you fucking kidding me? Because, there's the intent issue. No, if you are purposely infecting someone, if you are a known repeater, if you are a known offender doing this, I'm sorry, no, you have intent. Go ahead.
Do you remember, this was quite some time ago, but there was, toward the end of the big high time of the AIDS epidemic, there were, I can't remember what the term was, but there was a name for people who, this was focused on gay men, the one I heard about. There were gay men going out and looking for a group, a society to belong to. And these people who had AIDS would purposely infect them
that's still a thing.
To get them into the family.
Yeah, that's still a thing.
It sounds almost like when you know that practice is going on, why would you put out a bill like this?
Yeah.
I don't get that.
And then the second part to it of decriminalizing it, and you don't have to provide the information if you have HIV, AIDS when donating blood. That's still now, I will stand here and say, again, if you don't know you have it, and you go and donate, okay. That's an accident, but that's also when you sit there and say, yes, I've been sexually active in this amount of time, da-da-da-da. You don't have to tell them you're gay or anything like that, because, it's not their fucking business if you're gay or not. But you can sit there and say, I've been sexually active in this time period, and at least that way they can do some medical checks on the blood to make sure it's viable and okay.
Right.
But to flat not have to tell them at all, that's not remotely fucking okay, because the Red Cross and other agencies that collect blood and ship it all over the nation, especially when there's horrible incidents like the recent hurricanes, fires, and floods. Some of that tainted blood could end up, infecting a small child. And that is where I have a problem. I'm sorry. The intent, as the governor said, by passing this bill, was to take away the social stigma, to make HIV and AIDS a social problem.
It has been for almost 40 years now.
Sorry, more of a community health awareness issue, less than motherfucker, are you serious? AIDS and HIV sadly he is. HIV and AIDS have been a social, community, and everything else, health awareness issue since the 80s, when it became a fucking issue, you ignorant swine.
The problem is we are so good at distracting ourselves now. The one point I can see, and I will give him credit on this, is there are so many ways to distract and divert people. I don't think people, if you went to the average Joe, I don't think they would think it is as big of a thing now. Not because it isn't, but because there's so much stuff competing for your attention right now. Some of it is hokey. Some of it is bullshit. Some of it, like the fires, like the hurricanes, some of it is disaster now.
Yeah.
It isn't that it isn't out there. It's just there's so many things, both, yes, disasters, fires, floods, yes, okay. AIDS can take a back seat to that because these are problems we have to handle now.
Yeah. But
how many people did Paris fucking Hilton sleep with in the past year?
Anyone?
That gets in some cases as much coverage, and because you have all that stuff competing, there's some things that are left to the side, and health and medical are one of the big things right now.
For anyone who has slept with Paris Hilton, I highly advise you go get checked by your doctor. And anyone who has hold it. And anyone who has seen the Paris Hilton video, I'm pretty sure STDs can be transmitted through the screen, and you should probably go get checked because you may have caught whatever she has in real life via the internet. Go get checked.
Considering I was on a 2400 baud modem at the time, I don't think I caught shit. Or no, actually, I think I was on a 33.6 modem at the time. I still don't think I could have caught shit at that speed.
Hey,
I think I watched like the first 3 minutes, and then my mom picked up the phone, and and there it went. I never saw the rest of it. So.
At least it's better than the Lorena Bobbitt virus. Turns your 6.5 into a 3.5 floppy.
It could take mine right off. I don't think I'd notice.
Anyways, but no. Now that we're moving away from the seriousness, but before we wrap up this little segment, where especially with us coming up to Halloween and with these bills in effect and with all the disasters going on, this is something that I really haven't seen any major news. I've seen YouTubers talk about it, but I have not actually seen a major news outlet discuss this matter. And this is a big fucking thing. I mean, yes, it's happened over the course of the last month, but it's something that I feel needs to be addressed, especially since we know people in the gay communities. We know people who like to give blood. We even know people who, because of medical issues, have to occasionally, get blood given to them because they have things like leukemia, or they have to have blood drawn, or they have to, something where they have to have blood put into them. This is a major and serious health risk that needs to be addressed.
Speaking of going to get blood drawn, I get to do that tomorrow. So yes, I know what that's like.
And luckily we know your sexual history.
Oh yeah, that hasn't been a problem in 13 years. So
we talked about that last episode, and I'll make sure to get you the link for the episode so you can download the thing. I
will say this, for a lot of people who were born in the 90s or whatnot, if you aren't aware of how bad this got, I think it was an HBO movie. It's called And the Band Played On.
Yes.
And it's okay. I'm not going to say it's a documentary. I can't say it's a documentary. It was
a lot of liberties
really good
taken.
Project. Yeah, well, they only had a couple of hours to do it in, and they
Yeah.
were covering like 10 or 12 years of time. So they had to, but you get the idea of what, not so much what they were facing in backlash with the government, as much as how underground this was and how it stayed underground for so long, and when it ended up, why it ended up being such a problem like it was, because due to the administration, they couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
It is a very, very strong movie. If you don't know much about it, I'm not going to say you'll get a PhD in AIDS awareness from this, but it will at least give you the background that you need. It covers blood transfusions. It mentions, babies born to mothers who were HIV positive. It talks about, sharing needles. That's where the sharing needles thing started from, was because blood tainted needles would be shared and HIV would be spread around that way. It talks about bathhouses. In fact, Phil Collins makes a cameo as a bathhouse manager. I will say, this is a guilty pleasure of mine. I like And the Band Played On because of the time period. I know so many people, including, I think, one of the best times I've ever seen him, Steve Martin. Has a very brief cameo. It is an extremely serious cameo. No, it really, I've seen a lot of jokes and a lot of ha-ha with Steve Martin, but it's kind of like Robin Williams.
When he played a serious part, you're like... When
you play a serious part or something, it's that same thing. It's only for about a minute or two, but you really... there is nothing funny about that, and seeing him in that is... it actually makes the movie, case of the movie better, that even this person can't joke about it.
Yeah.
And
even with...
for the new people, hey, you get to watch Gandalf on the screen because the main character is played by Ian McKellen.
Well, and even with us joking, with our dark jokes and whatnot, given our friendships with various gay people, with people I know who have medical problems, even Rendal even has medical problems. The serious nature of the governor of a state passing something like that because it's progressive and it's to make it a social awareness thing, and so on and so forth, but not realizing the actual detrimental effects long term that this will have is, like I said, the progressive counterpart of Donald Trump. That is dangerous.
It may be rooted in good intentions, and I applaud him if that was the case, but
the road to hell is paved.
Somebody should have stopped him before that happened.
Yeah.
Again, I think that might be, in line with the other bill. Maybe they just threw it out there, didn't expect anything, and now, oh shit.
Yeah.
In which case, he did that to himself, and dude, I'm sorry. As good an intention as that was, it never should have happened.
Never should have passed. No. And okay, so moving on from that depressing shit.
Can we go up now? We're going down rather fast.
Well, we're gonna go kind of sideways. So okay.
Oh, we're gonna be like Trent. Okay, this will be fun.
More like we're gonna sit and spin without spinning. We're gonna sit. What the fuck? That's a joke that only Alkali will ever get, and I just realized that. So, anyways, so okay, you heard about TwitchCon going on? It happened last week. Yeah, last week.
Yes, I actually heard. Don't get your hopes up.
Yes,
well, recent podcast was on TwitchCon.
Yeah, I actually I need to watch. I need to watch that. But anyways,
they got around to it eventually. But yes, it was supposed to be about TwitchCon.
So TwitchCon happened last week, and then we got BlizzCon next week, which is like
shit. I need to get my virtual ticket yet.
Yeah, you do.
I will do that on Sunday.
But anyways, so TwitchCon happened. Now, okay. And this was an interesting thing, and actually, I will kind of argue an interesting case that another YouTuber, Wild Spartans, brought up. And this was kind of interesting is because he was talking about TwitchCon, the differences between VidCon and TwitchCon, and video content creation versus IRL streaming. Now,
yes, they covered IRL streaming a bit in their podcast.
Now, for those who haven't caught the memo, a bunch of IRL streamers, for those who don't understand what IRL means in real life, IRL in real life, da-da-da, ha-ha.
Gee, you're so smart when it comes to those little things.
Yeah. IRL streamers are a growing, I'm not sure I want to say pandemic issue. They are a growing community of Twitch streamers. You get infamous cases like Ice Poseidon and Andy Milonakis, and then you have like Pocket. And even a cooking stream to a certain extent is a IRL streaming. It's just not, you're not wandering around in the world. So IRL streaming is, pretty decent thing, and sometimes it's really hit and miss. Sometimes it's really cool, sometimes it really sucks. And because IRL streaming happens, in real time, in real life, and streaming, you can't go back and fix a mistake. You can't edit something out. You can't alter things. You just kind of have to go with the flow. Sometimes it means you have to take the stream down. Sometimes it means you end up in handcuffs. Sometimes you end up with a pie in your face or the cops kicking down your door going, "Where's the baby?" And that's the problem.
Or being swatted, yes. Isn't that always fun?
And that is a problem with IRL streaming. However, on the other side of the field, with content creation, and even just video game streaming, oh wait, you can still have cops knocking down your door going, "Where's the baby?" You're going to have issues editing things out, but you can edit things out. Some people just choose not to. So the content creation part of it, it's like, on one hand, yes. On the other hand, the reason why RL streaming is so big is because it comes back to the reality TV show thing. Except in this case, there's a good chance that there's not going to be, a team of producers going, "They're off the script, shoot them." And at TwitchCon, which, big, Twitch streamer convention, there was a bunch of IRL streamers there. And a lot of them got kicked out.
Yep. Because they weren't they weren't asking permission and just recording.
Well, and here's the thing, is in some instances, I get why some of the IRL streamers were kicked out. Because one instance that seems to come up, and I may drag up the footage or not for the actual video, of this dude being a complete douchebag. And it's like, and I understand him getting kicked out. Some of them, who didn't ask in permission or clear it with the convention beforehand, getting kicked out. That's their bad. They didn't read the rules and terms of services because, oh wait, who reads the terms of services? I do.
Yeah, I can't say I do usually.
Now, there is some who actually did get permission. From what I have dug around and seen, is there was a couple of, they were rare, but there was some IRL streamers who did get permission, and I guess TwitchCon didn't get the memo, or security staff didn't get the memo, or something happened, and they were kicked out, even though they had permission. And then you've got Andy Milonakis. Whether or not you like him or hate him, he's an interesting case. Andy Milonakis has a really big following for streaming, for making videos, just in general. He has a really big following, especially since he is a former TV star, not a former porn star, but a former TV star who has become a streamer. And Rendal's kind of checked out right now mentally. He's like, ugh.
Apparently Steam is having, they're having a Halloween sale.
Motherfucker.
I just got thinking,
when I'm broke.
30 games are on sale. I'm like, Jesus, what's going on?
Quick, newsflash, there's a Steam Halloween sale. Go, go, go. Anyways, Andy Milonakis, who is one of the bigger streamers on Twitch, is an interesting case. Now, he didn't get permission or anything like that. On the other hand, all he was doing was he was just sitting on a couch, chilling, talking with his stream. wasn't causing a ruckus, and he tends to try not to cause a ruckus, unless he is setting out to cause a ruckus. Then he does cause a ruckus on purpose. But otherwise, he does have a very chill stream, and he is very weird. He is our kind of weird, but he actually has the money to back it up. So prick.
Lucky bastard.
And he was kicked out, which I get that one. I get that one to the extent that there was potentials for hazard and whatnot, because he is a celebrity, a legitimate celebrity. So that could have presented all sorts of hassles. On the other hand, I sit there and go, why couldn't the TwitchCon staff sit there and go, okay, let's shut down your stream for right now. We'll take this to the back and talk about it, maybe figure something out, and, get a security detail set up so, hey, you're good to go. Which brings me to VidCon. VidCon, the YouTube Video Content Creator Con, where raging douchebags like Jake Paul tweeted out before VidCon started that he was hiding $30,000 in bushes and led over 1,000 people in a manhunt for that money and caused problems.
I remember that. Yeah.
Now, what's more dangerous here? Someone who is being low-key, being calm, being cool, and has 1,000 witnesses around him that he's not doing anything, and if something bad happens, there's 1,000 witnesses to sit there and go, he's doing nothing wrong. Versus someone who deliberately sets up shenanigans, causes problems deliberately, and, oh wait, caused a actual real-life hazard. In either instance, not clearing it with the convention staff is a big no-no. Big no-no.
Definitely. Yeah, you need to...
Uh-oh. He died. We've lost him. Oh, crap, he died.
do that.
You've gone robot. Yeah. Are you back now? Are you good?
Yeah, you froze up.
Okay, so it was on both ends. I think somebody
great.
It's good now. It was a great derp face. I'm gonna remember that. That's gonna.
Well, yeah, yours was too. I was like, please say I did.
I'm thinking someone is accessing the internet. Oh yay and derp. Oh my god, I love this is the best derp face. Best derp face right there. Okay, you're back now. Cool.
Yeah, but that was. Did one of your roommates hop online? That was a real bad hitch there.
I think so.
That lasted almost 5 seconds.
I think someone hopped
on. You were sitting there going like this with that fucking big gulp. I wish I would have pushed screen save. It's like, yeah, see, he says he gave up alcohol, but look at what he's drinking out of now. Could he level with me here? He hasn't given it up. He's just changed the container.
I have to work tonight. I can't do that. But anyways.
Oh, hey, you know what? Just do like Kage does. Put it in a coffee cup.
You know, the funny thing is actually people check the coffee cups at work.
I have told this before, but it was so much fun. When I was at FurSquared last year, he was doing real life furry panel, I believe. And it's actually a very good panel. He's done it a couple of times. Kage's a chemist. He's a scientist. So he's looking at what would be the ethical ramifications of creating life. Oh, it's really nice. But he had a Starbucks cup. Now, anybody who knows Kage does not drink coffee.
No,
he doesn't. Jokes. I was watching him and Alkali from this year. He said there's a rule that they can't bring in outside alcohol, so he has a Starbucks. And he's sitting there talking to somebody from the hotel and takes a drink and he says, boy, this coffee's really good. And they said, yeah, I can smell it on your breath. So fast forward, and I said this last year when we talked about this, the lady who did this was an absolute sweetheart. That sounded like a disconnect sound.
That was on my side. I was unplugging my phone.
Oh, good. I was like, Jesus, did you just get knocked off of the net?
No.
But he was drinking and he was saying, "Oh, I'm out." And toward the beginning, you heard somebody. If the video is on YouTube, you hear somebody say, "Well, we know what's in there." This lady came in late. I believe she came in late, but she saw that he was drinking, and in her mind, again, bless her heart, because nobody else moved. We're all too busy listening to him. She got up. She disappeared for like 5 minutes. I don't know where she went, but she went and came back with Starbucks. She went out and got Uncle Kage a coffee because in her mind, he was drinking coffee and had run out. And I felt so sorry for her because if you watch this is in the video. I can almost guarantee it's in the video toward the end. He takes a sip and he's like, "Oh God, that's actually coffee." Because this same girl, her mom, and it was an older lady. I'm assuming her mom and I think her sister came. Yes, and I felt so sorry because I was sitting up front and she was sitting by me. And I felt so bad for her because all the rest of us are assholes. It's like, well, he's out. Fuck him. We're here for a story. She actually went out and helped. Granted, not the way he wanted. But this was the lady. It was, I mentioned this when we did the update. I think it was her sister and her mom came, and when they started passing out the charity bucket, apparently these guys came with like rolls of quarters and whatnot, and they spent like 5 minutes just cracking these things open into the charity thing. They were really sweet people. So I chuckle at it, but I chuckle at it not so much because it happened, but because she honestly thought she was being nice. If she would have been in that room maybe 5 minutes before. But it was such a perfect, sweet move gone so horribly wrong. Mm-hmm. I just wanted to give her a hug. It's like, you know what? I don't care if I'm a creepy old man, honey. Thanks for trying while all the rest of us were being assholes over here, okay? At least somebody thought of Uncle Kage. So the best thing to do is someone at a convention, and I'm looking all at you fuzz butts out there, especially Morph and a few others who watch these videos on a regular basis. You guys are sick fucks, but I love you. Go to a convention, get a Starbucks cup. Well, you can smuggle a cup in too if you want, probably.
A Starbucks cup. Fill it with this much coffee, and the rest of it, and make sure it's like a grande venti latte, big cup. This much coffee, and then fill the rest of it with Kahlua, and give it to Kage.
Speaking of conventions,
I will discuss the FurSquared thing later.
No, I want, because we talked about it. I did look through, and I have emailed programming.
Yeah, you talked about this last week.
No, I talked about that for Skype. I actually just said, okay, if I podcast, what do I need to do? What rooms can I be in? You know, what? I just basically gave them the straight one. I've still got a couple of months. Mm-hmm. But yes, I am still pushing to do chaotic thoughts or chaotic ravings at FurSquared. I just need to talk to somebody because when I've done it in Vegas, all the equipment is there. Yeah. This will be the first time unless we could do it in main events, I don't think there's anything going on there. Because they have a sound system in main events already.
Podcasting hour. How's that for a convention program? Just get a random amateur podcasters and professional podcasters like the Dragon Show, and maybe follow it right after the Dragon Show.
This is something actually that this next one I do want to go to because for some reason they schedule it at the same time as going to your first FurCon. Is Xander actually hosts a podcasting panel. and I wanted to go to that, but they scheduled it at the same time as the going to your first FurCon, which, I mean, hey, it's my first FurCon. I've seen this panel 24 times, but since I am actually at the convention this time, I should probably go to it. So now next year, I mean, I know all the rules. So next year, I do want to go to that podcasting panel.
Actually, and bringing up the rules is a good point. To remind people going to BlizzCon that even though it's a 2-3 day event convention, abide by the 621 rule.
Oh, fuck yes. Come on.
It may only be, a weekend event. 2 official days officially. But it actually starts, technically, the road to BlizzCon starts Monday. For the various competitions and teams like that.
Yeah, that's true.
That starts Monday. So the rules for going to a convention. There we go. Had to get that burp out.
I was going to say, did you just forget them? That'd be priceless.
Is 621. 621 is 6 hours of sleep. 2 good meals. 2 good meals. That means not an energy drink. Not like burnt popcorn like what I'm munching on right now. But 2 realistic food meals.
Which, thanks to this asshole taking so long to get together, my meal's going to be over at the bar because I don't have time to eat now before I go.
We're about to wrap up. And one really good shower with soap and shampoo, motherfuckers. Because I went to WenCon and there was somebody who, for a 1-day event convention, somebody didn't obey 621.
Yes, I remember you talking about that.
It wasn't even a full convention. It was a 1-day event and someone didn't even shower.
I will say this, coming up, one thing I like about FurSquared, I don't know how many other people do it, is when you go to FurSquared, for every day of the con block, you get a ticket saying that you get a free breakfast buffet. And that breakfast buffet is not skimpy. That is an amazing meal. And I'm going as a super sponsor this year. So I think I may actually be part of a good meal this year.
Yay. Anyways, so with that all out of the way, we've covered some good ground on various things. We got some good topics out this week. What the fuck's wrong with us? What did we do wrong this week? We actually had like a decent show. Anyways, so
blame the governor of California.
Yes, blame the governor of California. Blame Donald Trump. Blame the furries and blame everybody. Because hell, let's blame Activision Blizzard. All right, there we go. So it's that time. We have to say goodbye, but don't be afraid, friends. We'll be back. Anyway,
you know what we should do? We should have just a fun little episode that we do on Halloween.
Yeah, well, we'll try to get something together. I'll figure something. I've got tomorrow off. We can shoot ideas back and forth. But anyways,
yes.
So had to remember the right hand.
And you talk about me not remembering things. You're looking right at the screen.
And it's mirrored.
Your left from your life.
It's mirrored. Go fuck yourself. And this gentleman over here is Raving Rendal. You can follow him at Twitter. His happy Twitter handle.
Yeah. Okay, there. I forgot. I've never had to try to do that. My camera's at a really weird angle.
You can follow him at Raving Rendal on Twitter, or Raving Rendal /Max.
Hopefully, the next time we do this, my apartment will be a little bit cleaner.
You can follow him.
Don't bet on it, though.
You can follow him on Facebook, Raving Rendal, Chaotic Ravings, and all that fun stuff where he does randomly post things, and just, some of it's kind of cool, some of it's kind of weird, and sometimes it's just his podcast that he does and he rambles around. And I am, unfortunately...
Which I did. a couple of hours earlier, I did post a new episode.
And unfortunately, I am your host, ChaosInfintium. You can follow me down at all this happy little stuff of Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and if you want to throw money at me, please throw some money at me. I want to be able to quit my job and actually do this full time.
Shit. You know what? If you end up at that point, good on you.
You can, if you want to, you can donate money to me via Patreon. There's no real reward system set up because I'm making no money off of it. Or you can throw some money at me via Streamlabs, which will be linked down below. And, this has been a good week. This has been an interesting week.
This has been a good one.
It's been a good week for us. Been a pretty good episode. And, you know what? On that note, I hope everyone is having a good day. I hope everyone is having a good week. And I hope everyone has a good weekend. And for those going to BlizzCon, if we don't see you or talk to you before then, you know what? I hope you have a great time, you lucky fucking bastards. And
some year you and I will get there, hopefully before they close.
Yeah. And so on that note, we will talk to you all later. And take it easy.